Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Earth and Sky's Life Talk. It's Sunday, November 12th today, and I can remember that yesterday was 11/11, and I remember getting up and around early in the morning and seeing it was 11/11 on the clock, and I always like to make a wish when it's that time of day, 11/11. There's something really special, something a little magical about that number, and when you have 11/11 on 11/11, oh my goodness, how great is that? I remember actually in 2011, there were a lot of weddings because 11/11 happened on a Saturday, if I remember right. Oh my gosh, that really created quite a to-do for a lot of wedding people that day. And if you haven't already, please click the like button down below on our Facebook page on Earth and Sky, and please also subscribe to us on YouTube. Our Earth and Sky Center is our name on YouTube, so please subscribe to us over there. We are a metaphysical center. We do a lot of things at Earth and Sky, so we enjoy bringing these life talks to you every Sunday morning. For those who join us live, when we do our recordings, we actually do a meditation afterwards, so we'd love to have you join us for that if you'd like. And on occasion, we broadcast those meditations live for you on Facebook. And I apologize if my voice is a little raspy. I am fighting over something, trying to really stay well and not catch that thing that's going around. So I'm really working on staying well, keeping that affirmation in my head. We actually just got back from Niagara Falls. We had planned on recording while we were in Niagara Falls, Ontario, and we just had such a good time out there. We didn't make the time to do it. Sometimes you really have to do that, though. You really have to just seize the moment, be in the moment, and throw your schedule out the window to just enjoy time. Sometimes you have to just enjoy being in the present moment. Those things on your to-do list, sometimes you need to reevaluate. What's really important right now? What can wait? What has to be done? What can maybe be completely thrown out the window, and just enjoy your time. It's such an interesting concept, time, in this world. There's a lot of different thoughts around it. There's a lot of stressors often that happen around time. Often people feel pressure and stress from time. And so how do you relieve that sensation? Have you ever noticed that time can go both ways, though? Sometimes with time, if you are really enjoying a moment, if you're really enjoying time with someone you love, or you're doing something really fun, really adventurous, something that you just really enjoy, time can just fly. In a few minutes will feel like it's gone. A few hours will feel like it's gone in just a few minutes. It's hard to really understand that concept. And yet at other times, if you're feeling depressed or sad, or something's really weighing on you, or you're doing a task you really don't like to do, then sometimes just a couple minutes will feel like a few hours, and it just weighs, and you feel those seconds just ticking by, ticking by. Sometimes if you're under a deadline, it feels like time is speeding up and chasing you. But really, time is just a concept that we've created. It's just this abstract concept that we have kind of geared our society around, and we have so many thoughts that go around it. The movie industry even plays off of those fears and those concerns of time too, because if you've noticed when you're watching a show, when that suspense starts to come up, often you'll hear the sound of a ticking clock. You'll hear that time kind of passing, that time catching up with you. And so they really know how to play on those fears if you listen in the background of some of the shows. And in our culture, another issue that we have often is a fear of scarcity. Lynn Twist is somebody who's taught a lot about this fear of scarcity. And there's fears of scarcity of time, money, love, even likes on your social media page, which is just crazy. That's not even a real currency or anything. And time isn't a commodity that you should be saving and holding on to. There's this thing that she teaches where people try to hold on to all of these concepts because they're afraid that there's a lack of it. They're afraid that they won't have enough, that they won't be able to get more of it. And time is one of those issues. But truly, if you open yourself up and you realize that it's there, that time is always there, that you can learn to control it. You can learn to bring in time when you need it. You can learn to prioritize things, and you can learn to nourish your soul with time as well. You can get really creative with time. You can learn how to harness time to your benefit instead of feeling like it's chasing you and you're under the gun. So how do you do those things? Well, one of them is realizing that it's the things that if you have that fear of scarcity, that really see things, turn it around in your head and see things as a resource to be shared. So if you are afraid of losing time, maybe you can see time as a resource and you start paying attention to where your minutes are going, where those hours are going, where your present moment is, what are you focusing on as you're doing things? Are you really seizing that present moment? And you can do that with all of the things. We might do another life talk later about that fear of scarcity and how to see things as a resource to be shared, not as a commodity to be collected and held and then becoming meaningless because they're just held and you're not doing anything with them. Right now we're just talking about time though. So how can you seize that moment with time? And on the other side of that, oftentimes we think of time and we count time as the minutes in the day when we're actually active. Those minutes in the day where we're functioning, we're doing things, we're checking off all of those to-dos, we're checking off how we're spending our time. But equally important is sleep. Sleep is so important, and we spend almost a third of our lives sleeping for a lot of us. They've actually been doing so much with sleep science. They've been trying to understand there's so much we still don't know about sleep, why it's so important, what it does, what the mechanism is, how long you have to sleep. We do know that sleep happens in 20-minute cycles as far as that REM cycle, but they've recently discovered that you actually need about 8 hours of sleep to go through the full cleansing process that your brain does at night, because your brain starts to open certain gates in your brain and it clears out the debris. Have you ever noticed that when you dream, often you'll be dreaming about things that happen during the day and they might not fully make sense. It might just be certain people that you encountered in the day, certain events and activities, but they're very skewed. It's not like you're watching what actually happened during the day. It's a very skewed, interesting thing where all of those things occur together in your dream. And that's because your brain is opening gates and it's clearing out all of the debris. Debris collects in chemicals in your brain and it needs to be washed out. Just like anything in your house, you need to clean and wash it out, get rid of the debris, get rid of the dust, get rid of the clutter. And so that happens with your brain as it goes through a series of releasing chemicals to clear out the debris every night while you sleep. So if you're just getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep at night because you feel like you're being more productive and you feel like you're really needing to, you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you don't get to bed until midnight. Yes, I'm guilty of these things a lot myself. I'm working on these issues myself. Then you're really not doing yourself a service because your brain is never fully reaching all of the different parts where it needs to clear out the debris. And so it's truly, truly important to get that good sleep because it happens in a sequence. If you sleep 4 hours one night, it's not going to clean out one half of your brain and then switch to the other half of your brain the next night. It goes in a sequence between all of those gates. So it's really important to get that sleep and to know that you're really valuing yourself when you do that, to know that you're actually helping yourself. If you don't get that much sleep, you'll have issues with anxiety often, or you might have problems staying awake during the daytime. That's a pretty easy one. It also will impede weight loss. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're only getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night, your brain isn't able to clear those gates to allow you to get your metabolism up so you can lose the weight. There's so many different processes and so many different wards to making sure you take the time and get the sleep that you need. And what a nice, easy way to treat yourself, right? To know that there's a reason for laying in bed for those 7 or 8 hours. Absolutely. Take advantage of that. That's your doctor's note for the day. And people sometimes will say that time is like a bank account. They feel like when you're born into this life, you have your full bank account, your whole life is ahead of you, you have all this promise and all this potential, and then as you get to the middle of your life, some people feel it's like 30. Some people hit 30 and they have a really hard time with feeling like they're in crisis. Some people feel like when they hit 40, that's the middle of their life and it's all downhill. Some people feel like that number is 50 and they reach 50 and they feel like they're at over the hill now. For others, it doesn't hit until they're 60 and they feel like, oh my gosh, death is knocking at my door. Now, all of that is so false. None of that is really true. We have so much within us, and time is such this construct that we all just simply create. It's an illusion that we create within us. And truly, if you are seeing that time as a bank account full when you're born and it just diminishes with each day as you age, then you're really speeding up that aging process within yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors because you're adding to that feeling where you feel like you're deteriorating. You're drawing it to you. It's the law of attraction. What you focus on is what happens. What you focus on is what you draw to you. And truly, it's totally an illusion, because how often have we seen where young children, we never know when we're going to die. Sometimes it's a young child that dies. Sometimes people die in their 20s. It's quite common and nobody knows how much time we have here. So don't use that as your gauge. Don't hurt yourself by using time as your gauge or trying to guess how much time you have left. Needing to stay ahead of time because you feel like it's running away. That's another one of those illusions that people often struggle with. They feel like if they can just catch up with time, they feel like it's always just right ahead of them and they're always trying to catch up to that. And often that's where that fear of death comes in, because people feel like that they have that fear that time is running out and they have to seize these moments. They have to get through this time right now. But truly, really, that control belongs to us. When you stop and you just put yourself in the present moment and you allow yourself just to be here right now, to be in this present moment, if you can imagine enjoying every moment in the present moment, how rich and full will your life be? Whether that life extends for 22 years, 35 years, 65 years, 85 years, or 102 years. If you really take the time and you enjoy every present moment, you will feel like you have such a rich value within your life. You're really going to be able to make the most of your life, because really we do every day. We make the time that we have and we make the time that we lose. We choose what time we have. We choose those moments that we cherish, and we choose what time we lose. We choose those moments that we give up because we're stressed or we're focused or we're trying to plan ahead, or we're looking to the past and you're having regret or guilt from the past, or you're having fear or anxiety about the future. How much time have you lost by choosing that instead of choosing to enjoy the moment that is right in front of you? Sometimes organization can really be a key to helping you be able to really enjoy the present moment. If you have a great planner, a great calendar that you can look at and you can just know where you're at, you're not stressing about what's ahead of you, and you learn to release regret and guilt and longing for what could have been that is not, then you can look at that planner and enjoy and savor every moment. Savor every moment that you have. Savor the moment that you're in, and really learn to choose what's important to you too. And I would suggest that you write a list of what things are the most important to you. Who is most important in your life? Is the most important thing to you your job? Is the most important thing to you your spouse? Is it your kids? Is it traveling? Is it wanting to write a book? What is it that's most important to you? And write a list, maybe 10 things, maybe more than that, but at least write 10 things and write the order of importance for you in that. And then after you write that list, go back and think about how much time you spend on each of those things. How much time do you spend on the things that are most important to you versus the things that are at the bottom of that list? And if it's not weighed correctly, if all of your focus is going to things where you feel like you're trying to work and be productive or race against the clock or whatever it is, then try to see how you can re-weight that, how you can rein in some of those, and how you can open up and expand time and really be in the present moment for those things that you really do cherish, those things that really do matter the most to you. How can you reorganize that list? You won't know until you write it down and you really have an assessment of what's actually important to you. And once you see that lined up, you really might be surprised. And I can tell you for sure, you can be really surprised about how many minutes you can gather up in your day as you start to shift and you pull things towards what really is important to you. And your life will feel so much more fulfilled. You'll feel so much more joy. You'll feel like you have that control and that power back by living in the present moment. It's always a compliment when people can tell you that even though they know you're really busy, that when they're in your presence, they feel your presence is with them. They feel that they know you're actually talking to them. You're not running somewhere else in your head, but you're really sitting in their presence. You're really in that moment, whatever moment you're in, whether you're having lunch with somebody, whether it's dinner with the family, whether it's you're out at Crossroads Village for Christmas, whatever those things are, really be in the present moment. One of the things I tell people often before they have a big event, whether it's a large fundraiser or a wedding or Thanksgiving dinner or anything where you've had a lot of time and you've been preparing for something and you're really getting that feast ready, whatever it is, then before everybody arrives that day, take a moment and just really calm yourself down. Stop yourself. Look and see what you've created around yourself. Look and see what your house looks like or what your office looks like, whatever you've been preparing. Take a minute and really look at that. See what you've created. Bring yourself into the present moment. Stop that crazy to-do list in your head that's wondering, what did I forget? What do I need? What else is there? Stop that chatter. Stop all of that mind chatter. Quiet yourself and take in that present moment. And when you do that, you're going to be able to really engage in the conversation with the people that you love. You're going to be able to create those memories that you'll really cherish because you're releasing that stress. You're letting it go. You're bringing yourself into the present moment. And that works with your career. That works with family. That works with anything that you're really working on. And it's a great way to start your day, too. When you wake up and you've got, you have everything to get ready, you're checking your organizer, you're seeing what you have coming up for the day, take 5 minutes at least, at a minimum, 5 minutes. It's not hard. And just calm yourself. Maybe do a small meditation. Bring yourself into the present moment. Release that chatter in your mind. The more you meditate, the more you work on mindfulness, the more you draw yourself into the present moment, you're going to realize that you can start doing it a little easier and a little easier. And it won't take 5 minutes, it'll take 2 minutes. And then it won't take 2 minutes, it'll take 30 seconds. And then you'll be able to get to where you just do it with your breath. Before you start something, you'll be able to take a breath. Breathe in that present moment. Breathe out, and you'll feel yourself calm. And you're no longer a slave to the clock. You're in control of your destiny. You're in control of your present moment. You're in control of your life at that point. You're in control of your everything. You're able to just really seize that moment and just really be there. Transcend time to really discover who you are. When you are running day to day and you're just so busy and you're so immersed in all of those to-dos, some of them are have to, some of them really matter, and some of them just kind of fill time too, or they don't really matter as far as a soul purpose. And so when you take that time and you start to really meditate more, and you learn mindfulness, and you learn how to really engage the present moment, and you learn how to really be here, you can start to transcend time and really discover who you are. It's through deep meditation when you're by yourself and you have that quiet space. Maybe it's before everybody else gets up in your household that you go downstairs, you light a candle on the dining table, and you just take some time to meditate, to clear your mind. As you start to meditate, thoughts will come into your mind and you'll just acknowledge them and let them go back out. And you'll start to have a little bit more time in between those thoughts the more you practice it. So just work with that for a while, and then you're going to start realizing that you start seeing deeper and deeper things about yourself. I know when we were in Canada this week, we turned our phones off, we turned the computers off. It was just wonderful to get away. We let go of all of the rest of the world. It was just us in this beautiful place in Niagara Falls. And it really, both of us found ourselves leading into some soul searching and really leading into thinking about life, thinking about those concepts, the deeper concepts of life, the deeper concepts about who we are, time, what is it, all of these different concepts. And so the more you do that, the more you take that space, I'm not even calling it time, but you create that space. You transcend time. You can really explore so much deeper about who you are. I believe it was Neil deGrasse Tyson that said it's really an interesting thing for people that are, if your mind is too preoccupied with trying to find your next meal, and in impoverished areas, sometimes people aren't able to really think about the cosmos. They're not able to really set their brain free to just think about and explore all of the depths of the information about the cosmos. And it's that same thing with people who are truly busy too. If you're working constantly, for a lot of business owners, I know it's very hard for them to take that time to pull away, to let their mind rest from all of those things on that huge wheel they spin on every day, and to take time out to really explore the depths of the self, to explore the depths of the soul, explore the meaning of the cosmos, explore the meaning of life. To do that, you have to be able to let go the stress of the world. You have to be able to let go the worry. You have to be able to truly let go of the concept of time. That's the biggest stressor for people often. It's that feeling of not enough hours in the day, not enough minutes in the hour. And so letting go of that, freeing yourself of that, is where you can really start to transcend time and explore your soul. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to explore your soul, to be able to fully live in the present moment and be creative with time. Allowing your brain to rest allows you to start to be intuitive, allows you to open up those centers of the mind, creating space, meditating, taking vacations, taking time off of your phone for soul renewal. It's so important to really renew your soul. It's such a priority to really take that time for yourself, because when you do that, then you'll find yourself back to your maximum capacity. Do you feel like you sometimes are so diminished and so depleted, you just don't have anything left to give? Do you feel like you've just stretched yourself so thin, you just don't know what else you can do? You just feel like you have nothing to give. You don't even have the capacity to take things in for yourself because you've stretched so thin. That's happened to a lot of people this year, specifically because we are in a 1 year. It's a planetary 1 year with numerology. If you add up 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7, you're going to reduce that down to one digit, which is a 1. It's a great year for starting new projects. It's a great year for planning new things, for setting, big projects that you want to do. If you want to change some things in your life, this is the year to set those goals. This is the year to do that. Yet, now that we're getting close to the end of the year, you still have a couple months to really set those. Most of you already have that in motion. It's that momentum of the planet. It kind of causes that in people. But by this time of the year, everybody's getting a little extra stressed, a little extra anxiety, and feeling like there was so much time that has passed, and so much still to do. Often I find people this year, because it's a 1 year, feeling like they've been doing so much, but they're not really sure what they accomplished. They know every minute felt like it was accounted for, but they're not seeing that progress yet. Well, the good news is next year is a 2 year, because if you add 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 8 together and reduce it to one digit, it's a 2. So next year is going to bring in more partnerships, more harmony, some peacemaking, working together. So if you felt like you've been working on all of these things all by yourself, you feel like you're out on the limb creating everything you're creating in your life this year, you're going to start bringing that in together. You're going to find all the other people that have been doing that this year too, and you're going to start working together with that. Well, before we get to that point, now that we're near the end of the year, it's so important to learn how to seize that concept of time for yourself. How can you find that peaceful moment within yourself where you can transcend time and you can figure out where you are. You can figure out how to live in the present moment. Truly, it's all in your choices. It's figuring out what's important to you. What deserves your time? What do you enjoy? How many people don't really know anymore what you enjoy? This happens a lot with people who raise kids, and then the kids get older, they go out of the house, and it's like, oh, what do we enjoy? What do I want to do? It's not just about everybody else now. This happens also when people have a spouse that dies. What do I want to do? It all comes back to figuring that out again for yourself, reinventing yourself in a way. So figure out what it is you enjoy, what deserves your time, what's important to you, what has to be done, because there are certain things that have to be done. You do need to earn a living. You do need to probably keep shelter, hopefully, over your head and things like that. And see how you can enjoy those things more, though, too, because there is always a way to find passion in what you do. There's always a way to play games within your mind and figure out how you can enjoy it. How can you improve yourself while also transcending time, enjoying the moment, and really living for each day. Creating space within time also helps you increase your intuition and allows that intuition to flow in. I know anytime I do readings, last year when we were doing the seances, and anytime we do the group readings at people's houses, any of that, or private readings, I always have to create space within myself. It's not just about the time when the person is here, it's about preparing myself, clearing my mind, clearing so you can hear from the other side. Because if you're blocked with chatter within your mind, you're not going to be able to be open to hearing other people around you, let alone hearing intuition from the other side, hearing guidance from your angels or from spirits or whatever it is you're looking to do. You need to be able to create that space. Whenever I have clients coming, I always start really the day before with making sure I am preparing myself. I'm clearing out that stress. I'm clearing my mind, and then I start writing down whatever messages they have. I always like to write it down before they come so that I'm not gauging anything by their reactions or anything that they say to me, but it really requires clearing that space out, which requires being able to transcend that clock. Awareness also comes when you create space for intuition to flow in. You'll be able to start to be more aware of things, more aware of life, more aware of how you can control the things in your life, how you can learn to flow with the current within your life. Sometimes the current isn't flowing exactly where we want it to go, but if you release that fear, you release that feeling of needing to drive the current, you can find that if you flow a bit with life, it's going to take you to unexpected places, which can be really joyous as well. And creating that space within your mind is also where you start to have those aha moments. So if you've ever noticed that you're working on a project and you're trying to figure out what you need to do, you're looking for a solution to something maybe that you're working on, and often it's not while you're stressing and trying to figure it out, but it's when you get up, you take a break, you walk away for a minute, and suddenly that intuition comes in, suddenly that solution comes in, and it's like, oh yes, aha, that's it, right. And so it's creating that space within your brain instead of feeling that stress. This also creates space so that you can really contemplate the meaning of life. I know some people really want to know why we're here. What's the purpose? That's such an individual thing for everybody. There are some broader purposes that come into play, but it's also very individual. Creating space, getting away from the clock is a first step to that as well. And getting on a little bit of a roll here. It's really where mindfulness and meditation comes in too. I can't stress enough how important it is to meditate, how important it is to have mindfulness, because you're creating space. You're really healing yourself every time you do that. Making a list of what's really important to you, looking at where you're spending your time. That's so important. I really hope all of you will do that. You'll write those top 10 things and then figure out, and you might find yourself writing a lot more than that, But please take the time to do that today. Write the top 10 things that are the most important to you, and what are you spending your time on. Also write a second list, the top 10 things that you spend your time on. Now, your job might be one of those top things. Sleep might be one of those top things. We talked about the benefits of sleep. And of course, you need to have your lights on. But there's also balance with that too. So don't neglect the people that are truly important to you for the sake of having that extra car, having that extra stuff. We're a culture of acquiring so many things. And sometimes I think lost in that process is those connections, those true connections with people, not just on your social media page, but reaching out, talking to people, having lunch with people, going to tea with people. I just took a friend of ours, it was her 70th birthday, so I took her to high tea. It was the first time she'd had high tea, and it was so beautiful to see her just reminiscing about all of these things in her life, the loves that she had when she was in her 20s, and the love that she had when she was in her 30s, and thinking about all of those memories. Make sure you're making those memories so you can reflect on knowing that when you live your life, you live in the present moment and you do those things that really matter, those things that bring joy to you. And also take time to really rejuvenate and restore yourself. Sometimes that's sleep, sometimes that's making sure you're not depriving yourself of sleep. Sometimes that means taking vacations, even if you don't feel like you have the time to take vacations. Who really has the time to step away from everything? Well, the way you do is you create that time, and you find out that when you do, it's so worth it. And you come back and you're so much more productive than you would have been if you had just stayed with your nose to the grindstone and kept paving away at things. Sometimes it's really hard to pull away, and it's so worth it in the end. I know some people that haven't taken vacations in years, and it's so sad to see that happen. If you don't have a lot of money, don't let that deter you. You can always do a staycation too, where you just go somewhere local, spend the night at a local hotel, just to pull yourself out of that environment and just allow yourself to feel freedom from all of your responsibilities. If you don't want to stay at a local hotel, then do it in your house. Turn your phone off, turn your laptop off, make sure it's off completely, not just on vibrate, because otherwise you're going to be going back and checking it, and spend some time where that's completely off within your house. And you do some things that you really enjoy. There's always a way to find a way to enjoy time, to take yourself away so that you can rejuvenate, restore yourself, enjoy yourself. And really, I can't stress enough about that with sleeping too, because if you hadn't heard in the very beginning of this, for those of you who have been joining us partway through the broadcast, they've recently discovered with sleep studies, basically, that your brain releases chemicals. It opens certain gates and it flushes chemicals throughout the night. It's sequential, and it takes 8 full hours to get through the whole process. On average, some people it might be 7 or 8 hours, but you need that full sleep cycle each night so it can sequentially clear out all the debris from the day. If you don't, you're going to be at risk for that anxiety. You're going to be at risk for worse insomnia that can actually kind of start to mount and become a very cyclical thing. If you're trying to lose weight and you're only getting 5 or 6 nights of sleep, 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night. Sorry, our cats are going a little crazy around me. It's really distracting me. But if you're only getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night, then your metabolism part, that gate that controls metabolism in your brain, isn't able to flush out the debris. So it's going to be impeding your weight loss. So please make sure you're getting enough sleep. Change your viewpoint to not see sleep as losing time, but see it as really self-care. Get excited about the cleansing process of getting that junk debris out of your brain. And then stress from the day will start to just diminish, and really, really focus on that great self-care. Focus on what matters to you, and you're going to find your life has so much more meaning. You're going to be that person at 70, at 80, at 90, where you can look back and your life had meaning. You spent time with the ones that you love. You know that what you really wanted, what really mattered to you, what you was what you focused on. And so you'll have great stories to tell. I hope that helps today. Talking a lot about time, getting really excited about it. I did a lot of focus on that while we were gone this past week in Canada. And it's amazing the things you can think about when you turn your phone off, when you turn your laptop off. I think we all need to do that more. So thank you so much for joining us today. Please click the like button on this video. Give us any comments and feedback. We're going to probably be doing a part 2 of this with JJ joining me. He's not quite well today. He's been kind of struggling through that thing that's been going around for everybody. So we do plan on doing a part 2 of this at some point in the future. I'd love to hear your comments, feedback, suggestions, and thoughts down below. Please click the like button on our Facebook page, Earth and Sky Center, and please click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, Earth and Sky Center. I'd love to have you join us for our classes coming up too, and we will be posting the Tea with DNA segment this Tuesday, and it's all about crystal grids, which is really a powerful thing. So I hope you'll join us for that broadcast on Tuesday, and have a great week.